coffee bean, not quite, you'll see. It's a seed in a cherry on a tree. Flower to fruit, then red once more. Layer shape the taste we're looking for. PASA Coffee, learn and sip. From cherry to cup, enjoy the trip.
From Bird Dubai, we show the way. Better coffee starts today.
PASA Coffee Podcast.
Episode 4.
So did you know the coffee bean you grind every morning is like not really a bean at all?
Right, it's totally a lie we've all just accepted.
Yeah. It's actually a seed hidden inside this sweet tropical fruit.
And it completely reframes your whole morning routine when you realize that.
It really does. I mean, think about every cup you enjoy here in Dubai.
Oh, sure.
Whether it's, your quick morning espresso before the office, or maybe a creamy Spanish latte.
Or a really delicate V60 pour over.
Exactly. Even a bold Arabic coffee with friends. Every single one of those cups starts its life as a piece of fruit on a tree.
A literal piece of fruit.
So, welcome to this deep dive. This is officially episode 4 of the PASA Coffee Beginner Specialty Coffee series, and we are broadcasting right here from Bird Dubai.
Super excited to be here for this one.
If you're joining us to expand your palate, our goal is to, just shortcut your way to understanding the science and the story inside your cup.
And the mission for today is to basically completely zoom out from the cafe environment.
Right. No espresso machines today.
Nope. We're leaving the gleaming machines and the latte art behind for a minute, and we're going straight to the farm.
I love it.
By dissecting the anatomy of a coffee cherry, layer by biological layer, you are going to finally understand why your coffee tastes the way it does.
Because honestly, you constantly hear people in specialty coffee shops throwing around terms like natural process or washed process.
Oh, or honey process.
Yes. And if you don't know the mechanics behind those words, it just sounds like intimidating industry jargon.
It sounds like marketing speak, but it's really not.
No, it all traces back to the physical anatomy of the fruit itself.
Exactly. If you try to understand processing without looking at the fruit, you're just working backward.
Makes total sense.
The processing is entirely dependent on the layers of the cherry. But before we even slice that fruit open, we kind of need to look at how it starts.
Right, the floral stage, which is it's fascinating.
It really is. The life cycle of coffee is this masterclass in biological patience.
Set the scene for us. What is happening on the farm before a single cherry even exists?
Okay, so picture a coffee farm at a high altitude right after a heavy tropical rain.
Okay, got it.
The trees are evergreen, and almost overnight, the branches just burst with these brilliant, star-shaped white flowers.
Wow.
And what usually surprises people standing on a farm for the first time is the smell.
It doesn't smell like coffee, right?
Not at all. You don't smell roasted coffee or earthy dirt. The air is intensely sweet. It smells remarkably like jasmine.
That is so wild. I mean, if you've ever walked outside in the UAE on a cool evening and caught that soft, sweet fragrance of jasmine drifting over a wall.
Yes, that exact smell.
That's exactly what a blooming coffee farm smells like. It's almost intoxicating.
It really is. But it doesn't last long at all.
Oh, really? How long?
Those delicate white flowers, they only stay on the branches for a few days.
Wow, that's incredibly fast.
Yeah, they bloom, release that massive wave of fragrance to attract pollinators, and then they just drop away to the soil. And what's left behind on the branch is this tiny, hard green node. That swelling base is the very beginning of the fruit forming.
The coffee cherry is officially born.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is the point when the clock really starts ticking.
Which is funny because, we live in a society where we expect coffee instantly.
Oh, totally. 3 minutes or less.
Right. You walk up to a counter, you order, and boom, a hot cup is in your hand. But the biological development of that cherry takes so much time.
A massive investment of the plant's energy.
Yeah.
For Arabica coffee, which is what you're drinking in almost any specialty coffee shop,
Right.
it takes about 7 to 9 months for that single green node to mature into a ripe cherry.
7 to 9 months.
Yeah. And if we're talking about Robusta, it takes even longer, usually around 9 to 11 months.
I just have to pause on that. 9 months.
It's a long wait.
It's staggering. What is actually happening chemically inside that fruit for almost a year? It can't just be getting bigger.
No, it's a super complex metabolic process. The plant is constantly pulling water and nutrients from the soil,
Okay.
pushing them up through the branches and synthesizing complex organic acids and sugars inside the fruit.
Which takes time.
Especially at high altitudes where the nights are cold, the cherry's metabolism actually slows down.
Oh, so the cold extends the timeline.
Exactly. And that extended maturation period is crucial because it allows the seed inside to become incredibly dense.
Packing in all the flavor.
Right. Packing in the chemical precursors that will eventually turn into the complex flavors we taste after roasting.
So the coffee you just, gulps down in 5 minutes while scrolling your phone.
Yeah, that one.
That required almost a year of continuous, fragile, natural development.
It really puts it in perspective.
It had to survive shifting weather, rain, harsh sun, the soil chemistry, and the farmer's care before it was ever even picked.
Let alone put on a ship to a roastery. The fact that it survives all those variables to make it to your cup is kind of a minor miracle.
A total miracle. So once that cherry finally does reach peak maturity after all those months, what are we actually looking at?
Right, well, we know coffee is technically a fruit. But botanically speaking, the coffee cherry is classified as a drupe.
A group. You hear that word thrown around, usually in comparison to things like dates or olives or peaches.
Exactly. Fleshy fruits with a hard pit or seed inside.
But there's a pretty massive physical difference between a peach and a coffee cherry, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. It's all about the ratio.
Right.
With a peach, the fleshy fruit is the prize.
Right.
And the pit is just this small hazard in the center.
You just throw the pit away.
Exactly. But with a coffee cherry, the ratio is completely inverted, the fruit flesh is razor thin, and the seed, the part we eventually roast, takes up almost the entire interior volume.
That's fascinating. Almost all the plant's biological energy is just funneled straight into that seed.
100%.
Which brings up a very practical question for a beginner.
Shoot.
If coffee is a fruit, and we are talking about this sweet cherry, why doesn't a cup of black coffee taste like hot fruit juice?
That is the most common question. And the answer is because we aren't brewing the fleshy fruit part.
We strip that away.
Exactly. We brew the roasted caramelized seed. But, and this is where the anatomy becomes critical, the fact that the seed developed inside that specific fruit environment is exactly why specialty coffees can have genuine fruity flavor profiles.
So it acts like a sponge.
Yes. It absorbs the genetics and the environment.
So when someone tastes a high-quality Ethiopian coffee and gets this, overwhelming burst of blueberry.
Or a Kenyan coffee that snaps with black currant.
Right. They aren't drinking artificial syrups.
Not at all. Those flavor notes are the genetic echo of the cherry itself.
A genetic echo. I love that phrasing.
The seed absorbed the organic acids and sugars from the surrounding fruit flesh as it grows.
Okay, so to really understand how that transfer of flavor happens, we need to mentally slice this cherry open.
Let's do it. There are 6 distinct layers, starting from the outside and working our way in.
Layer number 1, the outermost barrier.
So layer number 1 is the outer skin, or botanically, the exocarp.
The exocarp.
Got it. This is the taut, protective skin. For the first several months, it's green and hard, camouflaging the seed from pests.
Right.
But as it reaches the end of its cycle, the skin undergoes a massive color change, turning a vibrant, glossy red. Or sometimes yellow, depending on the plant varietal.
And that color change isn't just cosmetic, right? It's a huge indicator for the farmer.
It's everything.
I mean, think about walking through a fruit market here in Dubai, looking for fresh dates or perfect mangoes.
You skip right past the rock-hard green ones.
Exactly. You use color to find that peak ripeness because you know that's where the sugar is highest.
And coffee farmers are tracking the exact same metrics. Harvesting perfectly ripe cherries is the non-negotiable foundation of quality.
Because if a farmer picks green, underripe cherries,
the seed hasn't absorbed enough sugar, and the coffee will taste harsh and grassy.
Yuck. But what if they wait too long?
If they pick overripe, purplish cherries, the coffee can taste fermented or even rotten. The skin tells them exactly when the chemistry is optimal.
Wow. Okay, so right beneath that skin, we hit layer number 2, the pulp.
Yes, the pulp or the mesocarp.
The mesocarp.
This is the soft, fleshy fruit layer. Like we said, it's thin, but it is absolutely packed with natural sugars.
And the development of this specific layer is the reason high-quality coffee has an inherent natural sweetness.
Exactly. Which completely shatters the biggest myth for people just getting into specialty coffee.
Oh, totally. Everyone assumes black coffee is just this bitter, harsh liquid that requires a spoonful of sugar to be drinkable.
Right. But if the farmer waited for that exocarp to turn perfectly red, meaning the mesocarp developed its full spectrum of natural sugars.
A properly brewed black coffee will taste remarkably sweet all on its own.
It fundamentally changes how you approach the beverage.
It really does.
Now, the moisture and sugar from that pulp bleed directly into the next layer down. And this is arguably the most critical anatomical layer for flavor, layer number 3.
The mucilage.
The mucilage.
Even the word sounds like viscous.
It is incredibly viscous. It's a sticky, slimy, dense layer, heavily concentrated with natural pectins and sugars.
It just clings to the seed, right?
Stubbornly clings to it.
If you want a tactile comparison, think about a fresh, gooey date from the market.
Perfect example.
You know that incredibly sticky, sweet syrup on the outside that coats your fingers? The mucilage of a coffee cherry has a very similar texture. It's like biological glue.
And this sticky layer is the engine for fermentation. This is where we connect the botany directly to the words printed on your bag of coffee.
The processing terms.
Yes. How a farmer decides to handle this sticky mucilage layer dictates the entire flavor trajectory. This is what processing is.
Let's break down the mechanics of the 3 main processing methods. This is basically the cheat code for knowing what you're going to taste before you even buy the beans.
It really is. Let's start with a natural process.
Okay, natural process. How does that work?
In the natural process, the farmer harvests the ripe cherry and essentially lets nature take its course. They leave the skin, the pulp, and that sticky mucilage completely intact.
They don't keel it at all.
Not at all. They lay the entire unbroken fruit out on raised beds to dry in the hot sun.
So the seed is just locked inside the slowly raisioning fruit for weeks. What is happening chemically?
Fermentation. As the fruit dries, natural yeasts and bacteria begin breaking down the sugars in the pulp and mucilage.
And since the seed is trapped inside?
Exactly. The cellular structure of the seed acts like a sponge, drawing in those heavy fermenting fruit flavors.
Which is why natural processed coffees generally have a very heavy body, intense sweetness, and those wild, bold notes of dark berries or wine.
You got it. It leans heavily into the fruit's influence.
Okay, so on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, we have the washed process.
Right. With the wash process, the farmer runs the cherries through a mechanical depulper immediately after harvesting.
To physically rip off the skin and pulp?
Yep. But that sticky mucilage we talked about, it is so tightly bound to the seed, the machine can't just scrape it off without damaging the bean.
Wait, if the natural sugars in the mucilage make the coffee sweet and complex, why strip it away? Aren't they washing flavor down the drain?
It seems counterintuitive, right? But washing it away isn't about destroying flavor, it's about revealing a different kind of flavor.
Oh, I see.
To get the mucilage off, the seeds are placed in water tanks to ferment. The microbial action breaks down the pectins, and then they're vigorously washed with clean water until the seed is completely bare.
So it's drying completely naked. The fruit influence has been entirely removed.
Precisely. And by removing the heavy fruit sugars, you strip away the camouflage. What you're left tasting is the pure genetic profile of the seed itself and the specific terroir where it grew.
The soil, the altitude, the climate.
Exactly. The wash process gives you a much cleaner, brighter cup, delicate floral aromas, crisp citrus acidity, and a very light, tea-like body.
Heavy fruit versus clean acidity, but there is a middle path, right? The honey process. The honey process, yes.
And we have to clear up the most common misconception right away. There is absolutely no actual honey involved.
No bees required.
Nobody is glazing the coffee beans in honey.
No, it's called the honey process, purely because of the tactile stickiness and the golden color of the beans as they dry.
So how do they do it?
In this method, the farmer removes the outer skin and the pulp, just like they do at the start of the washed process.
Okay.
But instead of putting the seeds in tanks to dissolve the mucilage, they bypass the water entirely. They take those sticky mucilage-coated seeds and lay them directly in the sun to dry.
Wow, so the seed is basically baking in the sun, coated in its own natural sugary glue.
Exactly. And the resulting flavor profile sits perfectly in the middle. The sugars transfer into the seed, giving it more sweetness and body than a washed coffee, but it's not as wild or heavy as a natural.
It's a beautiful, balanced compromise.
It really is.
And this is the exact reason we have students pull side-by-side espresso shots in the PASA Coffee masterclasses here in Purdue.
It's the best way to learn. You can read about the chemistry of mucilage all day long, but when you have a shot of a natural coffee in one hand, bursting with strawberry notes, and a washed coffee in the other, snapping with crisp green apple.
The botany suddenly makes total sense on your palate.
Exactly. Experiencing the contrast is the only way to truly map the concepts.
Now, once the farmer has chosen the process and the coffee is fully dried, we still have to get that seed safely across an ocean to a roaster?
Right, it needs armor.
That brings us to layers 4 and 5, the parchment and the silverskin.
The botanical packaging.
Right, layer 4 is the parchment, or endocarp. It is a tough, hard, papery shell that fully encases the seed.
Does it stay on during drying?
Yes, throughout the entire drying process, the parchment stays securely on the bean. It protects the raw seeds from physical damage, mold, and extreme moisture loss.
But obviously we don't roast the parchment.
No. Right before the coffee is loaded onto a ship for export, it goes through a dry mill.
Which is basically a massive mechanical huller that physically cracks and strips that parchment layer off, almost like shelling a peanut.
That's the exact mechanism.
Yeah.
And once that tough parchment is milled away, we are finally looking at the seed. But it still has one last incredibly resilient layer clinging to it.
Layer 5.
The silver skin, or perisperm.
And this layer is unique because it's the only part of the fruit anatomy that actually makes it all the way into the roastery.
Yep. The silver skin is microscopically thin and binds so tightly to the seed that it can't be milled off without crushing the bean.
So how does it come off?
Thermodynamics. When the green seed goes into a roasting drum at 400 degrees, the residual moisture inside turns into steam. The pressure builds until the seed physically expands and pops.
Very similar to a popcorn kernel.
Exactly. When that expansion happens, the tight silver skin finally shatters and flakes off.
And roasters call that flaky byproduct chaff. If you ever dump out a bag of whole bean coffee and look closely at the beans, you'll almost always see a tiny white line of papery material stuck right in the center crease.
That is the last microscopic remnant of the silver skin.
Which finally brings us to the core of the cherry. Layer 6. The green bean.
The seed itself. The architectural center we've been traveling toward.
A prize.
Yes. Typically, inside that cherry, there are 2 of these seeds growing face to face.
Okay.
Because they develop pressed tightly against one another inside the parchment, they each form one flat side and one rounded side.
And that flat-sided half sphere is what the entire world universally recognizes as a standard coffee bean.
Exactly.
Okay, but what about the famous anomaly? If you hang around specialty coffee circles long enough, you'll hear people hunting for pea berries.
Ah, the pea berry.
It's often marketed like some sort of exclusive luxury item. What is actually happening biologically when you see a pea berry?
A pea berry is simply a naturally occurring genetic mutation. As we established, normally 2 seeds share the space inside the cherry. But in roughly 5% of the crop, one of the seeds fails to pollinate or develop. So the single remaining seed has the entire interior cavity of the cherry all to itself.
Ooh.
Without a twin seed to press flat against, it doesn't form a flat side. It grows completely round like a tiny little pea, hence the name pea berry.
It's an only child seed. That's so funny. But does that structural difference actually translate to a better cup of coffee? Or is it just a clever marketing angle?
Well, it's a bit of both, but there is real physics involved.
Oh, really?
Because pea berries are small and perfectly round, they roll much more fluidly inside a spinning roasting drum. They don't have slat edges that can catch or sit flush against the hot metal.
Ah, so they roast more evenly.
Exactly. They absorb heat very evenly from all sides, which many roasters argue leads to a sweeter, more consistently developed roast profile.
But the shape alone doesn't guarantee quality, right?
Not at all. A pea berry is not an automatic upgrade to a luxury tier. The flavor quality still depends entirely on the whole farm-to-cup journey.
Right, an underripe pea berry from a poorly managed farm is still gonna taste bad.
Vastly inferior to a perfectly ripe, flat-sided bean that was carefully processed. It's a fascinating botanical anomaly, but it's not a magic bullet.
That puts it in perfect perspective. All right, we've successfully mapped the entire anatomy of the coffee cherry, from the jasmine bloom on the branch down to the little round pea berry.
We covered a lot of ground.
We did, but as we always preach on this show, theoretical knowledge is basically useless unless you can actually map it to your own senses.
You have to pull the botany out of the textbook and put it onto your tongue.
Exactly. So we have a very practical, highly recommended exercise for you to try at home or the next time you visit a specialty cafe.
Yes, try this.
We want you to train your palate to physically taste the anatomy we just spent this deep dive exploring. Here is the assignment.
Get a pen.
Buy 1 bag of natural processed coffee and 1 bag of washed processed coffee.
And the critical rule here is to make sure they are a similar roast level, ideally a light or medium roast.
Right, because if it's roasted too dark, the heavy carbon flavors will completely mask the delicate processing flavors we're looking for.
Exactly. And your sensory evaluation should actually start before you even pour the hot water.
Oh, the dry aroma.
Grind the 2 coffees side by side and smell the dry grounds. The olfactory contrast will be immediate.
Totally day and night.
The natural coffee will likely hit your nose with dense, heavy aromas of sweet berries or dark chocolate. The washed coffee, stripped of that fruit influence, will smell much more delicate. Floral aromas or a sharp, clean citrus note.
Next, you brew them identically. Same water temperature, same ratio, same brewing device.
Keep all the variables the same.
And when you taste them, take the pressure off yourself. Don't worry about trying to identify obscure flavor notes like wild boysenberry or whatever.
Right, just focus on comparing 3 distinct structural elements.
First up, the body. How does the liquid physically coat your tongue?
The natural will probably feel heavier, almost syrupy and thick, while the washed will feel lighter, refreshing, and clean, much like a black tea.
Second, evaluate the acidity.
The washed coffee will likely have a much brighter, more vibrant zing to it, a crispness that wakes up the sides of your tongue.
And the natural coffee might have acidity, but it will feel softer, right?
Yeah, muted by the heavy blanket of fruit sweetness.
Which brings us to the third element. Compare the nature of that sweetness. Is it a dense, jammy, overripe fruit sweetness? Or is it a crisp, refined, sugarcane-like finish?
And the most important takeaway from this exercise is that there is no objectively right preference.
Absolutely not.
The goal is not to decide which process is superior. The goal is just to train your sensory memory to recognize the difference.
To connect the invisible agricultural choices made on a farm thousands of miles away directly to the flavor profile dancing on your tongue.
It's about realizing why you lean toward a specific profile. Now, instead of just guessing at a menu, you know the exact botanical why behind your preference.
That is so empowering for a beginner. Let's do a quick wrap-up of our journey today.
Let's do it.
The coffee you rely on every day is not a bean. It is a dense seed hidden inside a protective fruit.
Yep.
It takes nearly a year of slow, complex metabolic growth to mature. And how the farmers choose to manipulate that incredibly sticky, sugary mucilage layer.
Whether they leave it on in a natural process, aggressively wash it off, or find that sweet middle ground with a honey process.
That is the single biggest factor dictating whether your morning cup is bright and floral or heavy and jammy.
It is a remarkable, highly engineered chain of events just to get a beverage.
Truly. And, if you are ready to move from listening to an audio deep dive into actual hands-on practice, we highly encourage you to explore the PASA Coffee Masterclass right here in Dubai.
Highly recommend it.
It's the perfect environment to experience these processing differences in person, pulling shots side by side.
And you can also check out PASA Coffee for their curated selection of specialty beans to try the taste test at home.
Yeah, grab some practical brewing gadgets, or even look into their coffee equipment rental if you want to set up an amazing coffee bar for your next event. They are dedicated to making this knowledge incredibly accessible.
Well, as we close the book on this anatomy lesson, I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over.
Oh, lay it on us.
Pulling us back to where we started. If we look at this entire process through the lens of evolutionary biology, the coffee cherry's vibrant red skin and its sugary pulp evolved for one very specific purpose.
To attract animals, right?
Exactly. To act as a brightly colored, delicious beacon for animals in the wild. The plant's evolutionary strategy was to convince monkeys or birds to eat the sweet fruit and then discard or excrete the tough seeds far away, allowing the plant to colonize new territory.
A brilliant self-replicating survival mechanism.
It worked perfectly until humans intervened.
Yeah.
We completely hijacked that ancient survival mechanism.
We really did.
We don't care at all about the sweet fruit the plant spent 9 months meticulously growing. We discard the flesh, take the bitter, chemical-dense seed meant for the dirt, apply extreme thermodynamic heat, and use it to literally fuel the cognitive output of our modern world.
That is wild.
It makes you wonder, as you walk through a market or a forest, what other wild, unassuming seeds are out there, hiding inside everyday fruits, just waiting for someone curious enough to dry, roast, and brew them.
Wow. That is a thought that will definitely keep me up tonight. I'm going to look at every piece of fruit in my kitchen completely differently now.
That's the goal.
Well, for now, the next time you look down at that jagged, broken landscape of coffee grounds or stare into that dark liquid in your cup, remember, you aren't just looking at a simple bean. You're looking at the resilient core of a tropical fruit that traveled an unimaginably complex journey just to wake you up.
Coffee bean, not quite, you will see. It's a seed in a cherry on a tree. Flower to fruit, then red once more. Layer shape the taste we're looking for. PASA Coffee, learn and sip. From cherry to cup, enjoy the trip.
From Burr Dubai, we show the way. Better coffee starts today.
PASA Coffee Podcast.
Episode 4.